After you study this module, you will be able to know the concept of organizational development, know the history of the concept, understand the core values, know the objectives of OD, visualize a futuristic view of the organization, know about modern developments in the field. We shall commence this by studying about organizational development. Organization development OD is a deliberately planned organization-wide effort to increase an organization's effectiveness and or efficiency and or to enable the organization to achieve its strategic goals. OD theories and practitioners define OD in various ways. Its multiplicity of definitions reflects the complexity of the discipline and is responsible for its lack of understanding. For example, Vasudevan has referred to OD being about promoting organizational readiness to meet change, and it has been said that OD is a systematic learning and development strategy intended to change the basics of beliefs, attitude and relevance of values and structure of the current organization to better absorb disruptive technology, shrinking or exploding market opportunities and ensuing challenges and chaos. It is worth understanding what OD is not. It is not training, personal development, team development or team building, human resource development HRD, learning and development L&D, or a part of HR. Although it is often mistakenly understood as some or all of these. OD interventions are about change and so involve people, but OD also develops processes, systems and structures. The primary purpose of OD is to develop the organization, not to train or develop the staff. Organization development is an ongoing, systematic process of implementing effective organizational change. OD is known as both a field of science focused on understanding and managing organizational change and as a field of scientific study and inquiry. It is interdisciplinary in nature and draws on sociology, psychology, particularly industrial and organizational psychology and theories of motivation, learning and personality. Although behavioral science has provided the basic foundation for the study and practice of OD, new and emerging fields of study have made their presence felt. Experts in system thinking and organizational learning, structure of intuition in decision making and coaching, to name a few, whose perspective is not steeped in just the behavioral sciences but a much more multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary approach, have emerged as OD catalysts or tools. Organization development is a growing field that is responsive to many new approaches. Now, let us understand the history of organization development. Kurt Lewin, 1898 till 1947, is widely recognized as the founding father of OD. Although he died before the concept became current in the mid-1950s, from Lewin came the ideas of group dynamics and action research, which underpin the basic OD process as well as providing its collaborative consultant client ethos. Institutionally, Lewin founded the Research Center for Group Dynamics RCGD at MIT, which moved to Michigan after his death. RCGD colleagues were among those who founded the National Training Laboratories NTL, from which the T groups and group-based OD emerged. Kurt Lewin played a key role in the evolution of organization development as it is known today. As early as World War II, Lewin experimented with a collaborative change process involving himself as consultant and a client group. based on a three-step process of planning, taking action and measuring results. This was the forerunner of action research, an important element of OD which will be discussed later. Levin then participated in the beginnings of laboratory training or T groups, and after his death in 1947, his close associates helped to develop survey research methods at the University of Michigan. These procedures become important parts of OD as developments in this field continued at the national training laboratories and in growing numbers of universities and private consulting firms across the country. Two of the leading universities offering doctoral level degrees in OD are Benedictine University and the Fielding Graduate University. Douglas McGregor and Richard Beck-Hurd, while consulting together at General Mills in the 1950s, the two coined the term Organization Development (OD) to describe an innovative bottoms-up change effort that fit no traditional consulting categories. Westport, 1987, page 112. The failure of off-site laboratory training to live up to its early promise was one of the important forces stimulating the development of OD. Laboratory training is learning from a person's here and now experience as a member of an ongoing training group. Such groups usually meet without a specific agenda. Their purpose is for the members to learn about themselves from their spontaneous here and now responses to an ambiguous hypothetical situation. Problems of leadership, structure, status, communication and self-serving behavior typically arise in such a group. The members have an opportunity to learn something about themselves and to practice such skills as listening, observing others and functioning as effective group members. Herbert A. Shepard conducted the first large-scale experiments in organization development in the late 50s. As formally practiced and occasionally still practiced for special purposes, laboratory training was conducted in stranger groups or groups composed of individuals from different organizations, situations and backgrounds. A major difficulty developed, however, in transferring knowledge gained from these stranger labs to the actual situation back home. This required a transfer between two different cultures, the relatively safe and protected environment of the T group or training group and the give and take of the organizational environment with its traditional values. This led the early pioneers in this type of learning to begin to apply it to family groups, that is, groups located within an organization. From this shift in the local of the training site and the realization that culture was an important factor in influencing group members, along with some other developments in the behavioral sciences, emerged the concept of organization development. Moving on to discuss the core values. Underlying organization development are humanistic values. Margulies and Rea, 1972, articulated the humanistic values of OD as follows. First, providing opportunities for people to function as human beings rather than as resources in the productive process. Second, providing opportunities for each organization member as well as for the organization itself to develop to their full potential. Third, seeking to increase the effectiveness of the organization in terms of all of its goals. Fourth, attempting to create an environment in which it is possible to find exciting and challenging work. Fifth, providing opportunities for people in organizations to influence the way in which they relate to work, the organization and the environment. Sixth, treating each human being as a person with a complex set of needs, all of which are important to their work and their life. Differentiating OD from other change efforts such as first, operation management, second, training and development, third, technological innovations, etc. Next, we will discuss the objectives of organizational development. The objectives of OD are: first, to increase the level of interpersonal trust among employees. Second, to increase employees' level of satisfaction and commitment. Third, to confront problems instead of neglecting them. Fourth, to effectively manage conflict. Fifth, to increase cooperation and collaboration among the employees. Sixth, to increase the organization's problem solving. Seventh, to put in place processes that will help improve the ongoing operation of the organization on a continuous basis. As objectives of organizational development are framed keeping in view specific situations, they vary from one situation to another. In other words, these programs are tailored to meet the requirements of a particular situation. But broadly speaking, all organizational development programs try to achieve the following objectives. First, making individuals in the organization aware of the vision of the organization. Organizational development helps in making employees align with the vision of the organization. Second, encouraging employees to solve problems instead of avoiding them. Third, strengthening interpersonal trust, cooperation and communication for the successful achievement of organizational goals. Fourth, encouraging every individual to participate in the process of planning, thus making them feel responsible for the implementation of the plan. Fifth, creating a work atmosphere in which employees are encouraged to work and participate enthusiastically. Sixth, replacing formal lines of authority with personal knowledge and skill. Seventh, creating an environment of trust so that employees willingly accept change. According to organizational development thinking, organization development provides managers with a vehicle for introducing change systematically by applying a broad selection of management techniques. This in turn leads to greater personal, group and organizational effectiveness. Now we shall discuss the change agent. A change agent in the sense used here is not a technical expert skilled in such functional areas as accounting, production or finance. The change agent is a behavioral scientist who knows how to get people in an organization involved in solving their own problems. A change agent's main strength is a comprehensive knowledge of human behavior supported by a number of intervention techniques to be discussed later. The change agent can be either external or internal to the organization. An internal change itself is usually a staff person who has expertise in the behavioral sciences and in the intervention technology of OD. Beckert reports several cases in which line people have been trained in OD and have returned to their organizations to engage in successful change assignments. In the natural evolution of change mechanism in organization, this would seem to approach the ideal arrangement. Qualified change agents can be found on some university faculties, or they may be private consultants associated with such organizations as the National Training Laboratories Institute for Applied Behavioral Science, Washington, D.C., University Associates, San Diego, California, the Human Systems Intervention Graduate Program in the Department of Applied Human Sciences, Concordia University, Montreal, Canada, Navitas Private Limited, Pakistan, Max Foster Global and similar organizations. The change agent may be a staff or line member of the organization who is schooled in OD theory and technique. In such a case, the contractual relationship is an in-house agreement that shall probably be explicit with respect to all of the conditions involved except the fee. Next is sponsoring organization. The initiative for OD programs often comes from an organization that has a problem or anticipates facing a problem. This means that top management or someone authorized by top management is aware that a problem exists and has decided to seek help in solving it. There is a direct analogy here to the practice of psychotherapy. The client or patient must actively seek help in finding a solution to his problems. This indicates a willingness on the part of the client organization to accept help and assures the organization that management is actively concerned. Next is the holistic and futuristic view of organization. OD deals with the total system, the organization as a whole, including its relevant environment, or with a subsystem or systems, departments or work groups in the context of the total system. Parts of system, for example, individual glitches, structures, norms, values and products are not considered in isolation. The principle of interdependency, that change in one part of a system affects the other part, is fully recognized. Thus, OD interventions focus on the total culture and cultural processes of organizations. The focus is also on groups, since the relevant behavior of individuals in organization and group is generally a product of the influence of groups rather than of personalities. Improve organizational performance. The objective of OD is to improve the organization's capacity to handle its internal and external functioning and relationships. This includes improved interpersonal and group processes, more effective communication, enhanced ability to cope with organizational problems of all kinds. It also involves more effective decision processes, more appropriate leadership styles, improved skill in dealing with destructive conflict, as well as developing improved levels of trust and cooperation among organizational members. These objectives stem from a value system based on an optimistic view of the nature of man, that man in a supportive environment is capable of achieving higher levels of development and accomplishment. Essential to organization development and effectiveness is the scientific method, inquiry, a rigorous search for causes, experimental testing of hypotheses and review of results. Self-managing. Self-managing work groups allows the members of a work team to manage, control and monitor all facets of their work, from recruiting, hiring and new employees to deciding when to take rest breaks. An early analysis of the first self-managing work groups yielded the following behavioral characteristics. Hackman, 1986. Employees assume personal responsibility and accountability for outcomes of their work. Employees monitor their own performance and seek feedback on how well they are accomplishing their goals. Employees manage their performance and take corrective action when necessary to improve their and the performance of other group members. Employees seek guidance, assistance and resources from the organization when they do not have what they need to do on the job. Employees help members of their work group and employees in other groups to improve job performance and raise productivity for the organization as a whole. Next is organizational self-renewal. The ultimate aim of OD practitioners is to work themselves out of a job by leaving the client organization with a set of tools, behaviors, attitudes and an action plan with which to monitor its own state of health and to take corrective steps towards its own renewal and development. This is consistent with the system's concept of feedback as a regulatory and corrective mechanism. Next is understanding organizations. Westboard presents a 6-box model for understanding organizations. First, purposes. The organization members are clear about the organization's mission and purpose and goal agreements. whether people support the organization's purpose. Second, structure. How is the organization's work divided up? The question is whether there is an adequate fit between the purpose and the internal structure. Third, relationship. Between individuals, between units or departments that perform different tasks, and between the people and requirements of their job. Fourth, rewards. The consultant should diagnose the similarities between what the organization formally rewarded or punished members for. Fifth, leadership is to watch the blips among the other boxes and maintain balance among them. Sixth, helpful mechanism is a helpful organization that must attain to in order to survive, which as planning, control, budgeting and other information systems that help organization member accomplish. Now move on to the modern development. In recent years, serious questioning has emerged about the relevance of OD to managing change in modern organization. The need for reinventing the field has become a topic that even some of its founding fathers are discussing critically. With this call for reinvention and change, scholars have begun to examine organization development from an emotion-based standpoint. For example, D. Clark 2007 writes about how emotional trauma can negatively affect performance due to downsizing, outsourcing, mergers, restructuring, continual changes, invasions of privacy, harassment and abuses of power. Many employees experience the emotions of aggression, anxiety, apprehension, cynicism and fear, which can lead to performance decreases. D. Clark 2007 suggests that in order to heal the trauma and increase performance, OD practitioners must acknowledge the existence of the trauma, provide a safe place for employees to discuss their feelings, symbolize the trauma and put it into perspective, and then allow for and deal with the emotional responses. One method of achieving this is by having employees draw pictures of what they feel about the situation and then having them explain their drawings with each other. Drawing pictures is beneficial because it allows employees to express emotions they normally would not be able to put into words. Also, drawings often prompt active participation in the activity, as everyone is required to draw a picture and then discuss its meaning. The use of new technologies combined with globalization has also shifted the field of organization development. Roland Sullivan 2005 defined organization development with participants at the first Organization Development Conference for Asia in Dubai 2005 as organization development is a transformative leap to a desired vision where strategies and systems align in the light of local culture with an innovative and authentic leadership style using the support of high-tech tools. Bob Aubrey 2015 introduced KDIs, Key Development Indicators, to help organizations go beyond performance and align strategy, organizations and individuals, and argued that fundamental changes such as robotics, artificial intelligence and genetics prefigure a regeneration of the field. Let us now summarize what we have learned in this module. Organization development (OD) is a deliberately planned, organization-wide effort to increase an organization's effectiveness and or efficiency and or to enable the organization to achieve its strategic goals. Organization development is an ongoing, systematic process of implementing effective organizational change. OD is known as both a field of science focused on understanding and managing organizational change and as a field of scientific study and inquiry. The objective of OD is to improve the organization's capacity to handle its internal and external functioning and relationships. This includes improved interpersonal and group processes, more effective communication and enhanced ability to cope with organizational problems of all kinds. Self-managing work groups allow the member of a work team to manage, control and monitor all facets of their work, from recruiting, hiring and new employees to deciding when to take rest breaks. Modern development in recent years, serious questioning has emerged about the relevance of OD to managing change in modern organizations. The need for reinventing the field has become a topic that even some of its founding fathers are discussing critically.